All right. Today I worked on this lab called Hacker versus Hacker by TryHackMe. The IP address is given as 10.10.199.11. So we can start with this simple nmap scan. So nmap 10.10.199.11. See which ports are open based on a simple or standard nmap scan. Okay, it shows that port 22 and port 80. Now we can have a more detailed nmap scan where we can do this tech, SV, tech, SC arguments, and these are really for the scripts on the software of the open ports, or also the versions of the software used for those open ports. So what I mean by that is, let's say port 80 is open. We now can see that it's an Apache web server, and that's the version. And for the SSH port, we have an open SSH with this version number. All right, so that is useful. Now, since port 80 is open, we can go to this port and see what we can get out of the web page here. This is a simple web page. Then contact us. It moves us all the way down to the bottom of the page. So we have it over here, and there's some text, and contact us coming soon. And then we have this portion here where we can, where there is a file upload link. This is probably our attack vector here, because it seems out of what we have on the port 80 or the web page, there is nothing else to look. It is a really a malicious payload that we can include inside a file and then upload the file and use it to get a reverse shell back. Right? That's the most expected route that we probably go through. So if I go to page source, I see this HTML codes, and towards the end we have two comments here about an intern, and then another comment where we have a directory listed. This is something we need to pay attention to. So this /CBS is a directory. Now let's keep it in our minds. Now on this website, if we will upload a reverse shell, in fact, we need to know where these uploaded files are stored, right? So we need to know what the directory structure is. So probably the best way at this point is going through this GoBuster scan, where we can go through this directory list, medium size, on that IP address. And here tech T50 is changing number of threads used on the GoBuster scan. If you look at the menu here, the typical threads number is, if I'm not wrong, it should be 10. Now we are changing it to 50. Well, even though 1.8 or 2% is complete, guess what? We have this .cbs here. So it is really an existing directory, so we can take it and see what we can. Oops, I have two slides, but it's deleted. So on this CBS directory, it says directory listing disabled. So these are all indicators that the uploaded files are stored here, because you don't want to have a web page where users can have access to the uploaded files from the previous users, right? So these are all good signs for us to look at. Now, what we can do is we can try to upload a test CV and intercept the traffic with Burp Suite and see what's happening in there. So I'll turn on the Burp Suite here. I can also turn on the Foxy Proxy to direct the traffic to Burp Suite here. It's up and running. Proxy intercept is on. Now I can go to the well, we know that CVS is our director, so we don't have to continue with that one. All right, so we can now go to this folder that I created for this machine and create a fake CV. Let's say CV, and I can add content on this. This is a test CV. All right, so if we do the cat CV, okay, so it is there. Right, I will go to browse, and here I have the CV. Open it, and then upload it, and Foxy Burp Suite will intercept the traffic, and we have this post request, file to upload name, and this name is CV. So I can forward that, and the message I get is hacked. If you don't want me to upload my shell, do better at filtering. So there's a filtering process going on. If I go to post here, post request here, it's code 200. So on the website, when you on the website after this uploading, it doesn't show anything other than this single note here, which is also given here too, right? And the reason that we cannot see anything else, even though there is something, is because whatever I will turn off the so just give me a second. Okay, so basically this is the website after uploading the file, and this is the source code, and you see the source code has this message here plus more in comments, and it's because what you see here is HTML output, and this green highlighted comments are really PHP codes. So PHP codes are commented out on this website because PHP codes cannot be executed on the web page if the PHP add-ons are not installed, and here it seems that they are not there. Now, couple of things we get out of it. It looks at the number one, the directory is CVS. So we were right. So things are the uploaded CVs are going to this CVS directory. Check, and then it uses this str post function. It's basically accepting two arguments. It's a PHP function accepting two arguments. One is the full string, the other is the subset string. So let's say ABC is the full string and A is our subset. So this str post is checking if this letter A is inside this ABC string. This is what it does. So it's basically looking at this .pdf extension on the file, right? Now, please remember that this is a PHP code. So our expected file name is probably something.php, right? And now it's asking us to have .pdf in order for the code to accept what we submitted, meaning that following these tracks, our typical resume, which will be accepted, should be resume, whatever, dot PDF, because it has to have this dot PDF portion to get accepted, and it's a PHP file dot PHP. So this is probably dot PDF dot PHP file. Right? Now, now that we know where the files are stored, it is inside the inside this IP and CVS directory. We know that it's stored in here, and we also know that the extension is .pdf.php, most likely. Now we can go to GoBuster one more time, and this time we can go to the subdirectory .cvs and see the name of the shell or the webhook that the previous hacker has uploaded, right? So we know that this extension of that is most likely .pdf.php. So we need to first introduce the extension to the search. So TechX is telling us to look at this .pdf, or let's call it .pdf.php. Now, with that, we are looking at this subdirectory and searching the files with this file extension. It's okay to have multiple file extensions, because in Linux, file extensions are not really important. It doesn't work as Windows does. And regarding the word list, I tried this, and based on what I've seen with other walkthroughs, so we may need to use a different word list, which is part of the sec list and discovery data and web content. And here on this web content, there are reft group. So we can go with this small size words list .txt. Okay, so if I do this search, I'm basically looking at this subdirectory and trying to find out the names of the files with .pdf, .php extensions. Why I'm looking for that? Because that file, for example, this one here, may be the potential shell the hacker has used. So I'm trying to figure out. And after looking at the name, this shell.pdf.php is probably the most likely file to be a candidate for being a web shell. But the search continues, and there are many other files with this PDF PHP extension. So we can look at the status codes, and we are getting 200 on this dot period here, and if I go all the way down, we have this status code 200 also for shell.pdf PHP, and we don't have any other 200s. And then we can try here cvs shell.pdf.php, and we get this message, boom. So that's an indication for us here that we were able to capture we were able to detect the file the hacker used for as webhook or as shell. Okay, now what should we do next is we need to know the content of this file, and unfortunately we cannot get that. So what we can do is we can use this program called foo, right? Let me open up here. Okay, so this is the file or the tool that I mentioned. This foo, I think is how you pronounce it. I hope I'm right. So on this is really for fuzzing. So you can select specific directory or parameter, and you can uh, run an analysis. And in here, what we need to use is we need to use this tool for parameter fuzzing. So what I mean by that is, in this example, for example, it goes this file, and and here you have this query here, and then you need to insert a test value. And in this example that we are looking at, we need to invoke the shell, right? We need to give a command that will trigger the shell, that will invoke the shell. So what command we need to use is not known to us, but we can use this tool, and we can basically find out the command that triggers the shell. So let's work on this one. So what we can do now is then go to this terminal here. So we are done with that. Okay, so let's clear the window. So we can use this tool that we have and go to directory. Okay, there you go. So we have this IP address of 10.199.11, and the directory is CVS, and we know the shell.pdf php is the shell. Okay, now we have this query, and we need to fuzz, and here fuzz the ID. So the code will try different IDs and see the response, and that will help us what command do we need to put in here to invoke the shell. And here fw1 is let me control Z here, so help. Okay, so my tag fw is to filter by amount of words in response. And here, if I go back to here, if I go run the analysis again, it is going through 6,453, and there you go, CMD. So CMD is the code 200. So the command that we should be using to invoke the shell is CMD. So let's try it out. Okay, so I can close it. Now, shell PDF PHP, then I will need to put the question mark query CMD, and I can try a command pwd. There you go. It shows where or which directory we are at now, or who am I? Okay, dub data. So this is the least privileged service account. Okay, good. So we are in good shape. So we know really what to use to trigger the shell. All right. So okay, I had to restart my machine. Now I have a new IP address 10.10.193.10. Well, up until this point, we were able to find out where the shell is stored on the target machine. It's on the CVS directory, and we are able to give comments. And here cmd equals who am I, or ls. It's giving us the responses. So what we need to do now is we need to enter, let's say, reverse shell commands here and have a netcat listener up and running and get a callback from this reverse shell commands on the netcat listener, then explore the files inside the target machine. So this is our objective. And the reverse shell commands that we need to insert here, we can get from this reverse shell generator. This 10.6.34.212 is my VPN IP. I'm selecting port 1234. Well, if you look at the bash script, there are short ones. I'd like to go with the short one because I will do some URL encoding, and a shorter code is more likely to get bypassed from the filters based on the special symbols such as semicolon or quotes, double quotes, or forward slashes. So this MacFIFO is the one that I believe we can use here. Well, on this one, we have this netcat listener at 1234. This is the command here. So this code, injecting this code or executing this code will not be sufficient because we need to execute it in bash. So I can do this pipe bash, and I cannot really use it as it is. So I can go to here and encoding, and I can do the URL encoding. Now that is more URL friendly look of this link here. So I can go there and place the codes. Right. So before I click enter, we need to open up a listener on the same port 1234, and then once I enter the command, I'll get the callback on the listener. Perfect. That works. Now, if we do who am I, it's again this service account tech data. So the directory is here, so I can go cd home and I can see what we have over here. We have this username named Leklen, so I can go over there and ls. Okay, so we now have the user txt. I can get it out. Okay, so we get this user flag here. Okay, that works. Awesome. All right, now we can continue with our horizontal move on this user account. And we get the user flag. The next step probably is looking at this bash history because there's activity in there. So cat bash history. Okay, you see some of the commands executed by the user, and towards the end there is an echo command here, and you'll see this string here. That's a very likely password. So we can try if that is really the password for the user. So we can do su and user, and the password is this is the way 123. It seems there's no response, but probably we have a new shell or new connection now. So let's do who am I? Okay, so the password was correct. So we are now logged in with that user account. Okay, so we now have access to the user account. All right, so we are now ready for the last step in our efforts. That is this vertical privilege escalation or privilege escalation to get the root privileges. Now, we are revisiting what we have seen on this bash history. So I go here, cat bash history, and let's focus on this third line here, which is an edited V on CronJobs. So let me get this link here, copy and cat it. Okay, so this shows us the details of the cron job. One thing that we all know is this path. This is important because this is really telling us the order of the execution. In other words, the order will be that this directory will be first to execute. If the file is not there, then we go to the second directory bin and the third directory. So all these comments, all these execution are for the absolute directories, but this pkill is using relative directory. And if you look at the first file on the path, it is in the user that we have access to. So we have the read and write privileges on that directory. So let's go over there and create a fake pkill, which will change the course of the cron job. And we will have a fake pkill on this first directory, which will be the first to run. And we can include reverse shell payload in that pkill. So when the pkill is automatically executed, our malicious reverse shell commands will get executed. And in the meantime, we will have a netcat listener up and running, waiting for the callback. And once the commands inside the pkill are executed, we will get a callback on this netcat listener. So let's run that. So I go to this directory here, paste, and then okay, so let's see where I am now. Okay, I'll just do cd bin. Oh, that's what I'm supposed to be. Okay, so here we can include that pkill file. So how can we do that? On this reverse shell generators, we can use this first one here without any encoding or manipulation. So we can take this and we can execute it in bash. So we can pipe it to bash and then make sure that we have a listener up and running. So this is 10.6 times, okay, 34 to 12. Okay, that's correct. So let's use port 5555. Okay, so I'll go here. So what I will do is I will echo, and we can use bash c, meaning that the commands will be given as a string, and the string is this line that I received from the reverse shell generator. I close the single quotes, okay, and then I can close my double quotes as well, okay, and then write it on this home and bin and pkill. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, so pkill is there, so cat it out. Okay, we have everything there. So what we need to do now is change the execution permission. So plus X, and I will just add them up completely. Okay, so let's look at the permissions one more time. So now we have access compared to what we had before. Okay, perfect. Then we need to have this netcat listener on port 5555. Now Bash C bash cp. Okay. Under normal conditions, I should be able to get a callback soon after this cron job. There you go. It is executed. And the good thing is we are the root now. So who we are the root. So pw, all right. Okay, so cat root.txt. This will give the root flag. Copy selection, go to the site here. Ah, that mission is accomplished.